more money episode. I kind of low-key lost count.
16.
Nice. One of you did not lose count.
Yeah, we're back. It's been a while. You've been watching now. You know that we haven't posted in a little bit. And we're sorry for that. Roy's actually been traveling a lot. It's conference season. And if you're not in the mortgage business, you probably don't know what conference season is, but if you're watching this, you probably do know what conference season is. But that just basically means that Roy goes around and shakes the hands of really interesting people all over the mortgage industry. Roy, how's your conference travels been? Give us a small overview.
Travel's been really cool, man. We've been to already, I think, 4 conferences, and every one of them has been worth the trip. We've got to 2 real estate conferences, got to meet a number of realtors through the Northeast area. We've been to the MBA State of Florida conference, where I actually serve on the executive board there. So my first year serving on the MBA State, on the state board. So lots of good work there. And I speak at some of these things. So I just spoke at that particular conference.
He loves to talk.
Yeah. And I do love to talk. Probably more than anything else except my wife and my dog. But talking is my third love.
True.
But hey, all of that being said, I get to meet a lot of interesting people. And today you guys get to meet a very interesting person. If you've never heard of this man, he is our guest today, and he is the force behind the SuperHero mindset. Great podcast. Great posts that he shows on all of his social media platforms. I believe he has quite a number of videos out there as well, and he does a lot of speaking across the nation for a lot of sales groups. Welcome, Mr. Cory Charles. Cory, can you give us a couple of seconds and tell us about you?
Yes, thank you so much. First of all, Roy, we go back, so I'm excited to get a chance to chat with you and hang out with you fellows on this awesome podcast.
Oh,
but
back with you,
yeah,
like way back from where you're from, like
no, not that way back.
Oh, okay.
like kind of like halfway.
Old. I don't know if you know that, so I just want to.
I'm going to stay away from the old jokes because I just had my 3rd boy, and I'm feeling older by the minute. So I'll give him a pass on that. But yeah, you kind of mentioned it. I started in sales, and the thing that I always say, if anyone's heard me on a podcast, unfortunately I've said this before, but I was not your typical salesperson. I was not the person that you looked at a lineup and said, oh, there's the sales guy. I was not. I was shy, quiet, socially awkward, the whole 9. And for me, getting into sales was an accident. It was a little bit of survival. It was a little bit of just trying to figure out where I'm going to be in the world. And I just know from my struggles of picking up what it took to be great at sales, because that's one thing I will say. I do like to be good at things. But from learning what it took to be really great at sales, there wasn't a lot of resources out there. A lot of the books that were out there spoke to a certain personality type. A lot of the trainings and trainers spoke to a specific personality type. It just wasn't me. It didn't really fit my personality at all, and I'm too stubborn to change my personality. So I decided, once I started getting my feet under me and learning the hard way by really being a student, I was the creepy kid with the notebook in the corner watching all the great people in front of me. Once I decided to really embrace what I think is my purpose, which is helping not just other salespeople, but leaders, and now it's evolved into just people in general, I wanted to be the voice for the people that I didn't think had a voice out there, for the people that weren't that clear cut, oh, that's going to be a slam dunk salesperson. And then again, that transfers into everything we do. There's the people that you look at and you go, oh, that's a leader. That's going to be a leader. And, I will argue I can make a leader out of anybody. I can make a salesperson out of anybody. And if we go really, really further to where this SuperHero mindset has grown to, I think I can put anyone you put in front of me in a position to not only live their purpose, but be the best version of themselves. That's the stuff that gets me really, really excited. And that's what gets me motivated every day.
That's awesome. And as a matter of fact, I want to talk about, in most of your posts, I have seen this reference through the last few years that the SuperHero mindset has been like the focal point of your posts. And it hasn't just been sales, but that real focus on the SuperHero mindset. But in a lot of them, you talk about the SuperHero mindset and what that is. And you tell people to become the hero of their own stories. I love that premise of being the hero of your own stories. Can you tell us about how you tell someone or how you advise someone on becoming the hero of their own story?
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you asking that. No one ever asked that question, and so I like getting a new question. That's a really good one. And one of the things I want to say, where I got that from is I was having a conversation with someone a long time ago, and I realized that for most of us, we are background characters of our own story. And we're just kind of going through the day, either, at the whim of the people around us, and just kind of going through the motion every single day. We're not even the star of our own show. And then also, a lot of us are waiting for someone to be a hero to come in and save the day. We get into these sticky situations, things happen. A lot of that is, situations that we weren't even in control of. It could be where we come from, our background, how we grew up. A lot of those things are factors, but a lot of us just kind of sit back and have those issues or challenges and wait for the hero, wait for the savior. And we end up being kind of a second-rate character in our own movie. And once I had that kind of inner dialogue with myself and realized that I was doing it too, I'm an extra in the movie that has my name on the title. What am I doing? So once I started having those kind of inner dialogues, those inner conversations, then I realized, wow, a lot of us are really doing that. So how do we tap into not only understanding that where you come from, your DNA, your challenges, all the issues you've been through, and look, trust me, we all got issues, we all got challenges. That doesn't have to define your story. You have the ability to stop at anywhere in the chapter, any chapter in the story, the book, the movie. You can pause it. Any point you can say, hey, this is not the story I want to tell moving forward. That may have been the previous chapters, but from moving forward, I want it to be a different story. So part of it is understanding the stuff that we have in our background. I call it our origin story. Understanding the stuff that we came to the dance with that may not be so pretty and may not be so cute. Understanding that is part of the story, but it doesn't have to define the final chapter. I get the ability to rewrite that chapter every single day. And the superpower I've been gifted to do that is the ability to make choices. And I make choices every day that are going to fuel what I want the rest of that story to look like. Now I can make the choice to have the story continue how it started the first 10 chapters, or I can stop it right here and say, hey, I want the story to be different. What can I do today to have the ending be exactly what I want to do? So it really is, it sounds kind of hokey, but that's where I get really, really excited about this idea of rewriting your story, because you have that choice every single day. We just never use it, which is really interesting.
That is actually really interesting. And funny enough, Joel is actually a poster boy for that exact sentiment. I mean, he's literally shifted gears on the way he perceives life and everything in general over the last year. He's found his church, he's found his faith, he's found things that I didn't see him talking about or being part of in the first 3 years of knowing him. So that's a really interesting piece, and it actually is reflective of Joel right now.
Yeah,
I love that.
Oh no, man, Cory. I mean, a lot of things that you said hit home. Especially what Roy was saying. Every day we have, and it started off with my dad who used to say something, and it was so funny, right? My dad always made sure that I made my bed every morning. Like that was his make your bed. He didn't make his bed, but he made sure that I made my bed, right? And regardless of, I was like, oh, I'm literally gonna go back in it in a little bit. He's like, no, you make your bed. And I actually wrote my college essay. One of my college essays pieces on that, right? Making your bed. And it was because of just a simple choice that I make every morning to start that day like that, right? And a lot of people don't think of it like that. And I, thinking about that and going deeper into where I'm at and myself personally, I stumbled on sales by accident as well. But when I stumbled on sales, I still didn't have the mindset I have now. I was like, how much money can I make? Like that was, I was at how much money can I make? I mean, mortgages makes great money. And I didn't know that. And I was in there, I was like, dude, I'm in the right place right now, right? And slowly but surely, I saw what it could become and what it could do. And Roy's right. I'm very grounded in my faith, and that's one of the biggest things that I do. And a lot of people think that, you got to completely change every part about you. But no, it's what I've noticed a lot about that is making very small decisions that can alter where you go with that, right? And it's the decision of whether, hey, how to say something, whether to accept a certain piece of information, whether it is to, hey, accept a certain payment from somewhere. And these are things that obviously may go a little bit more extreme, but there's very little decisions every single day that you make that can really define the next couple of stories and chapters and stuff like that. And it comes with sacrifices, choices. And that's something my dad always says, you always have a choice. Like there is never a moment where you can't do it. And that's why God gave us free will. We have to make these choices. We have to be able to, our environment does determine a lot of things, but we still have choices within our environment, So I love what you said, Cory.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And I appreciate Dad giving you that training of making the bed. That's good stuff right there. But, it's very true. I heard this quote a long time ago, and it's really simple, but it speaks to that fact that we make thousands of choices every single day, and every single one of them are important. And even the ones that we don't think matter, they really do matter. The choice to get up and make your bed, that matters, because that sets you on a really good course for the day. And again, I can make choices based off of my pre-programming and based off of the story that's already been written, or I can make choices in a different way, right? And that is the true gift that we all have outside of the cool superpowers that each individual have. We all have that choice superpower, which is really interesting. As long as we make sure to exercise that choice, I think it's important.
Yeah. And I one of the biggest things that comes to me, and I'm a married man now, right? So I'm in the group. We can talk, right?
Just got here.
Yeah. So, but one of the
Welcome.
biggest things to me, and I just related to my wife now, because I know it's like the way that you respond to a certain little thing you say, and it's something very small, like where you'll have a little snap. It doesn't really mean anything in the long run, what you think, right? But those things build up over time. And I think that there's just a way you responding to your wife and how you do it. Or road rage, for example. I have terrible road rage, but when I do it, I realize it immediately, and I'd stop more and more and more. But it was because the first year that I was trying to, I road rage the entire time. But every time I caught myself, I was like, sorry, I'm going to try not to do that again. I'm going to try there. And that didn't work until now that I'm talking about it. I realized I have not raged in a long time.
That's fantastic.
I'm glad to hear that.
It's a little mantra that I've started telling myself. And I appreciate that you told the road rage story, because I think people will see my posts or have conversations. They think that I'm sunshine and rainbows 24/7. Far from it. But what I do understand, this little thing that I tell myself is, while I can't control the things that happen on a day-to-day basis, I can absolutely control how I respond to those things. So when a thing happens, and trust me, things happen every single day that I'm not a fan of, it is within my power to say, I'm going to let that destroy my day, or I'm just going to pocket it and move forward. And that's a little small choice that I make that I think leads to really big outcomes. Just like you said, not choosing to road rage. We've all seen those situations go really bad, right? And it's just a one little choice of, you know what, I'm just going to process this a little bit differently, and it can save you a whole heap of headaches down the road.
Yeah. Well, I hope you can stop road rage.
Yelling. It's not anything else. It's just yelling.
Good. I'm glad. I hope you're not throwing rocks out of your window. Cory, last week, man, you had a post. I really liked it. It was what top performing salespeople can do to set themselves apart. Would you mind sharing with our viewers, ourselves, the audience, what that is?
Yeah, absolutely. So there's a lot of things, right? When we look at top performing salespeople, I want to make sure that we don't try to oversimplify it and make it seem like it's the easiest thing. Sales is amazing, but it is a difficult job, right? But a couple of things that we can do, especially in today's world, is as salespeople understand that our role has changed. I used to call this, the difference between, pre-internet and post-internet. It's changed even more since then. I just dated myself accidentally, but in the last couple of years, things have changed drastically than even before the internet, I'd say, where we used to be the people that were in charge of what information got to the customer. And that gave us a lot of power, and that gave us a lot of ability to kind of dictate how we wanted the interaction to go, what we could get away with, some of the things that probably are the best sales tactics that were being taught. And that's some of the stuff that I used to see all the time. I'm not going to call anybody out, but it's something that everyone kind of did, right? And our buyers today are very different. Not only are they incredibly more savvy because they have information at their fingertips, but also they just want a different buying experience. And part of our job is to understand what that means. Of course, we can talk about the things like, knowing your product is always an important thing to make sure that we have, but going deeper and talking about the idea of knowing the buyer and knowing them on a deeper level, knowing their situation, their challenges, their troubles, what keeps them up at night, what makes them nervous. I can speak as a salesperson. Those are some of the questions I was scared to ask because I knew it was going to take us down either A, a dark road that I didn't want to travel down, or B, it was going to put us in a situation where I'm fighting these kind of negative thoughts. Now I understand I need to be there. I need to be in that conversation because if I'm not a part of that conversation, it's happening anyways. The only difference is I'm not there to help steer the ship. So understanding that, understanding the buyer, again, their real wants, desires, challenges, fears, all those things, 360, asking the right questions to get that information, right? Understanding that objections are important, but you're not going to be able to necessarily. I push back on the word of handling objections, right? I push back on overcoming objections because some objections you can't overcome, some you just got to handle. So being able to handle the objection and have the dialogue with the buyer. And the thing I just talked about, it's really interesting. I just talked about this yesterday, is making sure that we never lose sight of the empathy and understanding, especially when we're talking about these larger purchases. Maybe it's not, necessarily talking about I'm buying a new pen, but talking about these larger purchases that involve a lot of emotion. It's really being empathetic to the situation. Especially, we talk about homes a lot. There's a lot of different reasons why people move, and it's not always a good thing. And we need to understand what that is and why, and be empathetic, not just for the sale. We have to kind of remove ourselves from the idea of getting the sale, which I know sounds crazy. Salespeople look at me like, what do you mean? I want the sale. I like nice cars. I get it. But we got to remove ourselves from the idea of this is a sale. This is a human that I'm trying to understand their situation and help them get to resolution. And if I can do that, I'm in a really good place. And then, of course, the cheat sheet for me is always make sure that we are seeking continuous coaching, always making sure. I don't say this as a sales coach, but I say this as a person that understands that there's a ton that you can learn from the person that has been doing this for 20 years or the person that's been doing it for 20 minutes. There's a lot out there that you can learn, and always being an open book and being willing to take feedback. And even if that's criticism, take direction, take guidance, but always pull from what's around you, what's working, what's not working, and keep that student mentality 24/7. If you can do that, you become, it kind of cliche, but you become market proof, where if you're the person that's always willing to learn and adapt and change, there's no thing that can happen in the market that's going to really break you out of your foundation. You'll be good. You got to make some adjustments, but you'll be good.
It's interesting you say that. I agree with you. Whether you're on this side of the age scale or that side of the age scale, a lot of people, now Joel and I don't have this issue, right? Like Joel has been very open to, hey, you guys that work here when I first got here are 105 years old, but I still want to figure out and pick your brain. But at the same time, I see a lot of value in the way Joel looks at, his sales strategy and, today's marketplace and today's buyer. So if you've got a good dynamic, then there's a value add there, no matter how old the people are that you're dealing with on the sales staff. But what I run into a lot, especially when I'm talking to new interviewees, is this is how I've done it. This is what I believe in. And it comes from both sides, right? It could be a person who's been in the business for 20, 30 years, and they say, I do mailers, or I do emails, or I do whatever. Or it could be the person that's brand new and they only believe in, IG or Facebook stories or, whatever it is. None of it all works alone well, but altogether it can be an invaluable set of tools. That's what I've kind of come across with that in particular.
Yeah. And I love that you talk about value. I think that's something that, going from who we are as professionals and going to, the people that we serve, right? It's all about the value. Making sure that I can show and deliver value is really important. And also understanding that value can come in a lot of different forms. So I can't be so egotistical and so proud of what I've done to think that I can't get value from someone new or from someone that comes from a different background or different expertise. And that's the thing that I hear a lot as well is, this is the way that I've always done it. This has always worked. Well, let me tell you, the things that always work don't always work. Yeah. So being willing to kind of put your ego, I say this all the time, is your ego is not always your amigo. And sometimes you have to put your ego in the back seat. He can still be in the car, but he's got to be in the back seat, and you got to let somebody else sit shotgun for a little bit. So making sure that we don't let the glory of the past and the things that we did before and what was awesome dictate how we moving forward. It can be a good guide, but you got to be careful. You see this. You guys are in the social media sphere as well. I see this with things that a post 6 months ago that was lightning, it like hits flat, a couple months later, and you're like, oh, I got to adjust. I got to be willing to ask questions and make adjustments, right?
Yeah. I think that, what's it called? I like all that you're saying. I'm so in agreement with you, Cory, though. I think that a lot of things adapting, and you just touched on coaching. I actually just joined a really good coaching program for loans, and it's actually leveled up my business in a pretty great way, right?
Love that.
And I told Roy, I was like, dude, like, I'm never going to give this up. Like, it's one of the things and one of the investments that I'm always going to make in my business, because I'm like, I didn't realize the impact that it would really have on me. And I love it. Roy's a constant coach to me. Roy's always moving me forward and whatnot. And I'm always adapting to learn. And I think that's a big thing in this industry, is that people don't want to.
I was pointing at myself.
And then, but yeah, people are always very much focused on the past glory days, and they continue to, you guys. Oh my gosh. But yeah, back to what I'm saying, like, it's sales. And one of the things that I loved about this industry is that I would say I am a salesperson. I very much go there, but sales isn't so much like, hey, let me overcome your objections. I don't think that objections are there. I think that there's some objections to people buying a house because you're making a huge purchase. Hey, this house, we live in Miami, right? Miami is one of the, not, I wouldn't say overpriced, it's a higher priced market, right? I think it's like top 3 in the actual United States of, medium price homes. So every time somebody's trying to buy a home here, they're like, oh, dude, my monthly payment's super high. And I'm like, it is what it is. Like, you're not going to go out there and find something cheaper. If you want another option, you got to consider maybe relocating, maybe doing something, other things. But, we're not pushing a high payment on you, but that's the reality of things, right? So it's about now understanding that situation with them. And one of the biggest things that I've been able to understand is just listening, asking questions, not forcing somebody to buy a home when I don't feel comfortable, because I get a gut feeling and I'm like, oh, dude, I don't think that this person can make this payment affordable. But the commission check is like, oh, it's huge. So everybody's always pushing, make the sale, especially coming from a Hispanic background. I'm Hispanic. Most of them come to me and they're just trying to do the American dream. So about finding a way to bring that all together and help them in a way that is beneficial towards them by bringing more people in on the loan that they're going to live together, right? Maybe they have an 18-year-old that can pitch in. That's the reality of these days. But it's not overcoming objections. It's really bringing together a solution and adding value, and still being able to help them get that home at the end of the day. And if they're not ready to buy right now, adjusting and saying, hey, you'll be ready in a year if you take these steps. And I'm going to be with you while you take these steps. And if you have any questions, regardless if we didn't transact today, we'll transact in a year or two. I'm still going to be here. I ain't going nowhere. So it's a really nice mindset to see somebody else have, especially in this industry.
Well, I was going to say that kudos to you, that's a beautiful mindset to have. And I get really re-energized in the industry when I see folks and in any version of our industry that have that mindset, because it's difficult. And I always tell folks the kind of the roller coaster of my journey in sales. I started off as the shy kid that was terrible, and somehow I had a job long enough to learn some things, and then all of a sudden, overnight, I got what the kids would call game, and I started bringing kind of my ability to just get in and out of conversations. I started bringing that to my sales process, and it was more about how can I win the battle? How can I overcome that objection, right? How can I get them to do something that they were not going to do? And it was about me getting the sale, winning the sale, getting the money, and it was me. And I did well, but I realized quickly that's not sustainable. That doesn't last a very long time. And more importantly, if I want to excel at any level in this business, that's not duplicatable. The things that I can do just with my ability to game a prospect, I can't teach that to someone else. So it kept me at a level where I couldn't grow, I couldn't develop, because people would look at what I do and go, well, I can't do that, right? Which is such a weird change, because I was that kid when I started. But we look at the people that are amazing, And, we look at like a Michael Jordan and a Wayne Gretzky and Tiger Woods, all the amazing athletes. And we go, oh my God, they're amazing. I can't do what they do. And I realize as a coach that that's a bad thing. If someone says you're amazing, it means that they don't think they can do what I want to do, what I do. And I wanted folks to really look at me and go, oh, I can do that. I can learn that process. And it's not about me. So that shift of it's not about me winning the deal or winning the argument or winning the sale. It's about them. Exactly what you said, Joel. It's about them and understanding how can I help them fulfill this dream, or how can I help them on this journey? And maybe this means that it's got to be a year from now. But once I'm okay with that, that subtle mindset shift exploded my career in so many different ways that I would have guessed, because I stopped making it about me and it was about the other. And then that translated to training folks and working with leaders, and it just grew into so many different things. But so cool that you have that. I love it.
That's awesome. It's funny. In the last question I asked, you actually hit the next question I was going to ask. I'm actually going to stay away from it, but I'm going to quickly touch it by saying yesterday's post was awesome. It was about empathy. And I heard both you and Joel mention things like listening. Joel just mentioned that. And Cory, you mentioned a handful of things in the last question that we asked that were all technically revolve around the capability of empathy. And in yesterday's post, you happened to call empathy a championship level skill. Is that the only championship level skill, or are there others in your opinion?
Oh, great question.
That, Cory, before you answer that, I apologize. If you're watching this, make sure that for you to hear this answer, you like and subscribe to this video, because we're going to be bringing on some more guests just as powerful and as amazing as Cory. But Cory, take it away. I'm actually super interested in hearing this. That's
a really fantastic question. I think empathy is a championship level skill for salespeople. Not just salespeople, but I'm one that thinks we're all in sales. But yes, but also it is not the only. It is just one. And I think other ones, the one that I will always lean on, I love it so much, I named my company after it, is the mindset. Having the right mindset. We've kind of been in and out of this conversation, this whole chat. It's understanding that you're in complete control of your mindset and the things that go into your mind and what you allow to be an influence on how you operate is by far, I think, the number one championship level skills. And again, outside of just sales or mortgage or, any other level of what we do, again, I always go back to athletes. As you can see my Giants helmet, and we're not too great right now, but you can see my championship, my championship belt. So that counts. But when you look at athletics, mindset is the thing that sets people apart. When you look at the athletes that excel on just a higher level, where you look at them and go, whoa, they're just different. I mean, you've all heard the stories of Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, where their mindset is just on another level. That's the piece that I've seen take really, 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 really skilled salespeople and make them untouchable. Absolutely spot on, untouchable, can't beat them, is with the right mindset, because that's going to get you in and out of the rainy days. That's going to get you in and out of the cancellations and the, can't get them financed, whatever the situations are. That rock solid mindset and that focus on your purpose, that's going to get you exactly where you want to be. There's a couple other ones, but I just want to make sure that I give mindset the proper love. Authenticity is up there for me as well. Authenticity, courage is up there for me as well. Making sure that you understand what your inspiration is, what inspires you, what then motivates you to take action. Because people need to know inspiration and motivation are two different things. So I got to figure out what inspires me and then what motivates me to actually take action. And then I pair that with some authenticity, some courage. Now we're really cooking. Those to me are the big ingredients to make you really bulletproof.
Yeah.
I love that. I think that's great. I mean,
mindset is deep.
I like that you bifurcated inspiration and motivation as well. And we're getting ready to come up to the close here, Cory, but I got one or two more things I just want to quickly touch on. First of all, the championship level mindset, right? So I see all the things behind you, and I can tell you why I think those are championship level items, right? Like the Master of Magnetism, or the Man of Steel, or the $1 Million Genius, or whatever it may be that's back there. And the WWE belt, right?
That's right.
Awesome. And, I'm a Giants fan too. So, you got to have a championship level mindset to be a fan of the Giants because we lose too much. So, if I don't have that championship level mindset, I'm just going to fall down somewhere. Oh man. Yeah. But, there's also the lion that's behind you.
Oh, yes.
This crown on it. And I've noticed that through the years, that's become like your logo or your call sign or your call picture, your emblem. Tell me about that. Tell me why you chose that.
Yeah, that's really interesting. So I got the big one, and then I have some corner ones as well. So a lion has been my thing for a long time. I'll tell you kind of the easy answer, and then we'll go a little bit deeper. The easy answer is I'm a Leo. So that was like a slam dunk. But my mother's also Leo, and I don't know if anyone out there has had a mom that's a Leo, but she's intense. So exactly, you get it. So my mom's a Leo, and then my sister-in-law is a Leo as well. So I was surrounded by strong women. So it was always ingrained in me. But my mom always made me understand and believe and remember that I am a lion, and that's something that she drove into my skull. Even days that I didn't believe it, I had to remember that I am a lion. So it absolutely became kind of one of my trademarks. And even to the point, my nickname became the Limitless Lion. And when I started this journey of trying to be the best version of me and whatever that looks like, it was this idea of, hey, what does my life look like without limitations? And that could be the limitations that have been given to me or the limitations that I've chose. What does my life look like without limitations? If I could just paint a picture of what this life looks like, what would it be? And then how do I make choices and take the steps to get closer to that life? So that's how the Limitless Lion idea became a thing. So even when I am in my superhero bag and I'm really digging my superhero stuff and I'm talking about making sure that we have our superpowers in check, I always keep that lion piece close to me, because it's understanding that, you got something inside of you. Even if it sometimes looks like a little kitten, you got a lion on the inside, and sometimes you just got to let that bad boy out.
What is she, man? Is she a July or an August birthday?
So mom's August 1, so she is right at the kick of it, and I'm late July. So I got a little Cancer tendencies as well, but...
okay, yeah, my mom's the 16th. Yeah, 16th, so yeah, she's right at the end.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
That's awesome.
Hey, man, so, we're coming to a close here.
Yeah, so, I mean, Cory, it's been a pleasure to have you. The Limitless Lion mindset, the superhero mindset, it's great, bro. It's great. When it comes to limitations, I don't believe I have any, right? I believe that I was, just having God on my side. It's one of those things that has given me that abundant mindset that nothing is impossible. But I believe that anybody should have that mindset and continue moving forward with that, because one of the biggest things that I've always thought of here was this business and this company, right? I've always thought I'm going to be this type of producer. I'm going to help this amount of families. I'm going to continue moving that forward. And man, the mindset part, it gets hard. It gets hard. I'm drained. I'm literally home by 7:30, 8 p.m. You can ask where I'm the first one in, last one out, always there. And I'm just mentally drained and exhausted. But that motivation and that inspiration, it's like, all right, I got to get back up, got to go to the gym in the morning, got to come right back in the office, and I got to rinse and repeat, do it all again, right? I literally had a client who was, I don't get many, I would call it, I don't want to say A paper, right? But I don't get many 800 FICOs, 20% down with reserves in the bank, W-2 borrowers, right?
You're like looking for the camera, like, where's the...
That's the thing of the past, I'll tell you that much. But and that's not a thing of the past, because just people are more qualified. Homes are very expensive nowadays. Yeah. So I get it. 20% is a hard thing to do, but I got one of those. Under contract, everything was going super smooth. That was very well. He pulled out after, and he said, I have something personal come up, and boom. And those are big size loans. So that any other time, and I thought about it, any other time, I would have just been devastated. The realtor was extremely devastated. Oh my gosh, this happened. I can't believe it. It's one of those things like, all right, what do you got? Let's move on to the next thing. Let's keep it going. Let's keep it pushing. I'll stay in contact with him. So staying in that mindset and having that mindset that, we're going to make it. And I know that Roy and me understand that right now, just continuing to push, especially after last year, and seeing what this year has done. Dude, we're just excited. We're excited because we know what we're capable of. We know what we got behind us. We know, I know who's driving my car. And that's something here that I think that anybody could take away. It's that. It's inspiration. It's really if you're in this industry, it may look tough right now. Things may be hard right now. Things may not just be selling like you used to, but continue to find that motivation, inspiration, mindset, and continue pushing it forward, bro. And I think that you're going to find a lot of success, and we're going to find a lot of happiness, you know, in quite some time, right? But Cory, thank you so much for coming on. That was my 2 cents. Where can our audience find you on social media so they can watch some of these dope videos Roy's been talking about?
Well, I appreciate you guys so much for having me on. You guys are awesome. Love the podcast. You can find me on all the socials. I'm super active. If you know anything about me, you'll definitely see me on LinkedIn. I get people right around 8:30 like, hey, where's the post at? So I'm super consistent and on time on LinkedIn, but I live on all the socials as well. And then I have a cool little project coming on that's top secret, but it's coming soon. And then also a YouTube channel that's up as well. So we're rocking and rolling.
What's the handle, Cory?
So Cory Charles is really the simple one on LinkedIn. If you find me on the other socials, it is King Charles, Kxng, because I'm a little bit different. No surprise with the crown. So see, listen, we take themes all the way through. We don't slack on it. And then of course the Superhero Mindset has its own channels on all the social platforms. It just says that as the Superhero Mindset. So you can find us just about everywhere.
Awesome. Well, thanks again for joining us, and thanks for all the insight. I'm sure everyone's getting a little bit of something out of this, and you'll see this episode on in just about a week or two.
Yeah, give it some time. All right, Cory, man.
Thanks a lot, Cory.
Awesome. Appreciate you guys.